It had been a long, exhausting week, the kind of week where work piled up like an unmovable mountain, and I could barely find time to breathe. By the time Friday evening rolled around, I was mentally and physically drained, craving nothing more than a quiet night at home. I had been looking forward to it all week. Jessica, my wife, and I had hardly spent any time together recently. Life just kept getting in the way. I could already picture it, a peaceful evening, maybe a glass of wine, just the two of us reconnecting, if only for a few hours. When I walked through the door, expecting to see Jessica ready to unwind, I found her sitting on the couch, eyes glued to her phone. She didn't look up when I entered, barely acknowledging my presence with a quiet, "Hey, babe." I smiled, trying to shake off the weariness, but something in her tone caught me off guard. It wasn't the usual warmth. There was an emptiness to it, almost like she was somewhere else entirely. "Hey, how's your day been?" I asked, hanging up my jacket and walking over to her. "Hey, it's been fine," she replied, shrugging without looking up. "I'm just not in the mood tonight. Maybe another time?" The words hit me harder than I expected. I had been hoping for so much more, just a chance to feel close again. But in that moment, I felt the weight of the distance between us. We hadn't had a night like this in weeks, and now she was brushing me off. "No problem," I said, trying to sound casual, though the disappointment crept into my voice. "We can just have a quiet night in." Jessica offered a faint smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'll be in the other room," she said flatly, standing up and walking away. I watched her disappear down the hallway, my heart sinking with each step. The silence that filled the room was deafening. I plopped down on the couch, flicking through channels on the TV, but nothing could hold my attention. The emptiness of the house mirrored the emptiness in me. The stillness was suffocating. Then I heard the sound of footsteps in the hallway. A familiar voice called out, "Hey, David, you doing okay?" It was Kelly, Jessica's cousin. Kelly had always been a bit of a wild card. Where Jessica was reserved and thoughtful, Kelly was spontaneous and full of energy. We'd known each other for years, and while I always found her to be fun and easygoing, tonight she felt different. "Yeah, just trying to pass the time," I said, forcing a smile. "Jessica's not feeling up for much tonight." Kelly walked in and took a seat beside me on the couch. Her presence filled the space in a way that was both comforting and unsettling. She was always the life of the party, but tonight, there was an intensity in her eyes that I couldn't quite place. "Mind if I hang out for a bit?" she asked, leaning in just a little too close. "Of course," I replied, trying to act normal, though something in my gut told me that tonight wouldn't be the same. We started talking about everything and nothing. Small talk, the kind you make when there's an awkward silence to fill, but Kelly's tone began to shift. It was subtle at first, a softness in her voice that felt different. "You know," she said, leaning in closer, her words slowing down, "I always admired the way you and Jessica were together. You were always so in love, I blinked, unsure of where this conversation was going." "Thanks, Kelly. I still love her. I don't know what's happening between us anymore." Kelly's eyes searched mine as if looking for something. She paused, her expression softening. "I get it. Relationships change, people change," she said, her voice lowering even further. "But sometimes the spark needs a little push, a little attention." My heart skipped a beat. I wasn't sure where this was heading, but something in her words sent a shiver down my spine. Was she suggesting what I thought she was? Before I could respond, Kelly gave me a small smile, but it wasn't the playful, teasing smile I was used to. It was something else, something calculated. "I'm just saying," she continued, her voice dropping to a whisper, "sometimes you have to stop waiting for things to happen and make them happen." My chest tightened. The room seemed to close in around me, my mind racing as I tried to process what she was saying. Was she really suggesting what I thought she was? My pulse quickened. This was Kelly, Jessica's cousin, the woman I had always seen as just a playful part of the family. But now everything felt different. Just as I was about to speak, the door creaked open and Jessica's voice broke through the tension. "What are you two talking about?" I turned, my heart nearly stopping. Jessica stood in the doorway, her face unreadable, her eyes scanning us both. There was a long, uncomfortable silence. Kelly, unfazed, shrugged nonchalantly. "I was just keeping David company," she said with a casual smile, though I could tell from the look in her eyes that this was far from innocent. Jessica didn't respond immediately. She just stood there, her gaze flicking between Kelly and me, the silence between us thickening. Finally, she turned and walked back into the other room, her steps slow, almost deliberate. I sat there, frozen. What had just happened? Was I imagining things? But then I felt Kelly's gaze on me again. Not warm or playful, but intense. Calculating. You know, Kelly whispered, leaning in closer, her breath warm against my ear. I think you deserve to feel wanted, David. If Jessica won't give you what you need, maybe I will. The words hit me like a punch. I could feel my heart racing, my head spinning. Every part of me screamed to walk away, to push her away, but the temptation, the overwhelming desire to give in, was like a tidal wave. This was wrong. I knew it was wrong. But in that moment, the weight of my choices pressed down on me. What was I going to do?